Okay, I've talked about the first 5 weeks. I want to go into depth with what happens between week 3 and week 5, because this is an extremely pivotal point for the whole summer. I would say that these weeks are the weeks of frustration and patience. So, frustration, you get frustrated because you don't know what you're doing right or wrong, right? So you have a day where you sell three or five, and then you have a couple days where you bagel. It's like, what the freak? I am working my butt off. I'm doing everything I can, doing the exact same things. Like, why am I bageling now when yesterday I worked just as hard and I got five sales? Or you're in the frustration of, honestly, like they told me to trust the process, and I've been out here for, like, I'm in my third week right now and I'm still not really getting sales. And if I am, it's not really consistent. And so, like, there's that frustration of, like, frick, is this ever going to work? And you start feeling down on yourself, thinking, well, maybe this won't work. Maybe I'm just not a salesman. And you start creating that identity for yourself. The and then you're told to be patient, which is trust the process, man. Like, you're good. You'll figure this out, and things will start working. So be patient with yourself, because you're not going to be perfect immediately. Be patient with yourself. That is true. Be patient with yourself. But I want you to understand what the trust the process means, because this is the pivotal point. So at week 3, what happens is around week 3, between week 3 to week 5, you hit the point where you have your words memorized, you have everything that you need to, and you can either choose to progress or choose not to. And I'll explain what I mean by that. And so let's start with the choosing not to. If you choose not to progress, what does that look like? That looks like the person that shows up to area and he says, "I'm here, I'm committed, like I'm not leaving," but doesn't knock from any doors, doesn't work super hard, diddle daddles between doors, doesn't go push really hard with customers. And it's because he feels uncomfortable with it, right? And so you're not being persistent, you're not doing everything that you need to. And you can easily say, yeah, like I'm doing what I'm supposed to, like I'm getting on the doors, like I'm just trusting the process, waiting for it to happen. That is not trusting the process. That is just showing up, and you're not progressing because you're not pushing your boundaries, your skill level. You're not pushing your comfort zone. You're not pushing your capacity to get sales, which means that you're not progressing. And if you're not progressing, you're degressing. So there's that. There's the second person that shows up and they're trying to go be patient. And this is the one where if there was a middle ground between progressing and degressing, this would be it. But in reality, it's degressing. And it's the person that just shows up and they're like, well, I'm just going to keep pushing. I'll do what I've done, push through multiple objections. They shut me down and move on to the next door. Like, I'm going to keep working though. I'm going to keep trying to talk to more people, and eventually it'll come. That works, takes a lot longer. It's painful, usually breaks you, and you don't have the same progression. And because you're not increasing your skill set, you're not finding out what's off. And so let's look at the last situation. This is what you should be doing. You show up and if you're frustrated, that means that you care. That's good. In fact, somebody that's in their third or fourth week and they're not frustrated with themselves, they're not frustrated when they bagel, they're not frustrated when things aren't going right, that usually means they're stepping into a path of apathy, which is not good. That leads to degression. So be the person that shows up, and your thought is, what are the inputs I can go control? I can go control how many doors I'm knocking. I can control how hard I'm pushing with people. And then you go push it more. Go learn how to go do that. Go learn how to go through 10, 15 objections after price and not be pushy. Be a persistent, good salesman. Go develop that skill set. You show up and you're like, what do I need to go do? How do I go above and beyond? Like, you just got to want it. You got to have that desire. And that is the tipping point. It is, how bad do you actually want it? Because if you want it, and there's so many freaking cliches of your head's underwater, and when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll actually succeed. There's that cliche, which is true. And there's also the cliche of, well, what if your wife or your mom or your sister was on the line? That unless you get the sale, then they're dead. That's brutal. And it's easy to go wave it away. But in reality, like, think about it. What would you go do different if you had to go get a sale today? Otherwise, a loved one is dead, or If your head's underwater and you have to go fight to be alive and to not drown, like what would you go do? And I want you guys to understand that because if you can go, that is the tipping point. That is trust in the process. Trust in the process is recognizing there's a roadmap, but it's not waiting till it gets easy. Like that's not what patience is. It is trust roadmap is in trust the process, go work your freaking butt off because the work is the process. It's the doing whatever it takes to go get sales. And so that is the mental shift that needs to happen around the week 3 to week 5. Like that is where it for sure needs to happen. Otherwise, you'll step into a path of apathy and it's not good for you. Like you will lose your confidence because you're just getting walked all over. You're not actually progressing. And I want you to understand that because this job is a freaking amazing. You have the ability to go increase your capacity to influence people for good. But it's not just given to you. You have to work your butt off for it. Like go figure out the skill set that you need. You have an opportunity to go increase your confidence exponentially. Why? Because you're doing something hard. So if it came easy, then your confidence wouldn't go super high. You wouldn't feel like you go do anything in the world. We also wouldn't pay you what we pay you if it was easy, right? We hired you because this is a hard job. And you said that you're a hard worker and you said that you had what it takes. And so if you're in that week 3 to week 5, recognize where you're at. Like go evaluate that, be introspective and say, am I hitting a point where I'm being apathetic? I'm actually working less hard than I was at the very beginning of the summer. If that's true, go change it. Because recognize the path that you just took. You just took the path that 1000% leads to, sorry, not 1000%. Let me rephrase that. 100% leads to apathy, that leads to you breaking commitments to yourself, making that you can't trust yourself. It leads to a lack of confidence. It's not good. It's not a path that you want to be on. The middle one, it typically leads to feeling like a victim, saying like I did everything I could, like I worked my butt off. But it's not the path that you want to be on because then it's just that path of self-deception that you're telling yourself that you're doing everything you could, but in reality you're not. Because that last path, that's the path you want to be on. No matter what, for the rest of your life, if you want to go progress, that is the path of progression. It is a would I do something different if a loved one was on the line? And if that's the case, and you're wondering why you're not getting sales, go do that because that changes as you get better and better and better. And so if you go push that and you have that mentality of like, I need to go do this, otherwise I'm losing a loved one, that's extreme. But that mindset of if that was going to change, if you were going to do something different, if you're going to try harder, if that was the case, then that means you're not giving it your all. And so go be honest with yourself. Go give it your all because this week 3 to week 5, that is the pivotal point. This is where you determine whether you're a 100 level rep or whether you're a 2, 3, 400 level rep. Because the foundation for a really, really good rep is the one that just does whatever it takes, that just goes all in, that just pushes themselves. Hopefully, this is helpful. Think about it. Think about where you're at. 3 to 5 weeks. You're in it. I know that you're feeling the pain. Decide what you want to do with it because it is a lot more painful to not progress. Progression feels good.